Hi, my name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single Friday I do a macro technical analysis video where we break down Bitcoin, Total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, gold, the DXY, and more. S&P futures, NASDAQ. If you can't wait to see this, if you want to see what's happening to the bigger market, if you're freaked out, let's take a look at key levels. Let's take a look at if we're going to bounce, bullish or bearish. Let's break it down. Let's have some fun and break down the macro technical analysis right now. The first thing I'm going to start is with the CME gap. Bitcoin did have a big old CME gap down there between about 78,000, 80K. We did wick into the gap. We always seem to wick right into it and pop right back up. So we wicked into the gap. That has happened. We can check that off the list. So right off the bat, in case you were wondering, yes, we did hit the gap. Bitcoin also bouncing off the daily 200 MA. As long as we do not close a daily candle below this yellow line, I remain bullish. Let me show you some of the bullish scenarios right now because everyone's super bearish. Let me just show you the bullish scenario. This is a swing up to swing up. The RSI is a swing down. That is called hidden bullish divergence. You're also very oversold on the stochastics RSI. Hidden bullish divergence tells us that we should be getting a bounce. So now we're going to pull a Fibonacci right here from this level, and we're going to see that we've bounced pretty right off of the 618 Fibonacci level. So key right now. So that is pretty bullish. You know, we're going to watch as the smaller time frames play out. Today, I'd like to see the daily candle close with the massive wick. If it can close green, even better. And we'd like to see the 4-hour continue this move up. Can it make an inverted head and shoulder to save the day? So this is what I'm seeing here. Can we make a shoulder, a head and a right shoulder, and break on out of here, get back to the 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame? We're very far away from the 21. We have bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame, and we're looking for a move to the upside. If you're on the smaller time frames, you're basically watching this flag right now on the 15-minute time frame. This flag is looking to pump. So we want to see this flag break above the 200 MA, and we want to see an explosive move to the upside. It's looking like we may get it. I'm heavy on a long right now, so that's the macro. This will probably be over by the time you see it. But the idea, my trading group, they got this flag right now. So they're in this trade with me. I'm in it right now, and we're going to see if we can get this move to the upside. But right now, you're going to be watching this hidden bullish divergence on the weekly, the bounce off the stochastics RSI there. Sorry. So you're going to be watching the hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. You're going to see the bounce off the daily 200 MA. That's what you're going to be really focused on throughout the week, and to see if Bitcoin can get itself back into good graces. We're going to be watching the 4-hour time frame and seeing if it can make an inverted head and shoulder. You're going to have heavy resistance right there. First level is going to be 86.5, then at about 88,800. If you can get above those two hurdles, we can start moving back to 90,000. Bear scenario is this somehow completes somewhat of a bear flag like this, and we tumble further to the downside, right? And we end up, back to 67,000. Still a possibility, everybody, so I'll keep you posted throughout the week. What I want you to focus on the macro is that daily 200 MA, that weekly hidden bullish divergence, and then these key levels here on the local time frames, 86.6 and 88.8. We get above those out of an inverted head and shoulder, and we can get a move. First thing we're looking for is that 15-minute to get the bounce. Next, we're going to look at the total market cap in all of cryptocurrency. What happened? Where are we? How much did we lose? My goodness. Wow, we almost lost an entire $1 trillion. We were at 3.15 trillion, and we wicked all the way down to 2.55. I mean, $500 billion in assets swinging around. Like, where did it go? So crazy. Like, where does $500 billion go to? It's amazing. Anyway, we'll make our key supports, and we actually came right back down to key resistance as support. So resistance is support. Weekly support is very strong. I would look for this to bounce, but again, we had some strong weekly support that gave way to get us here too. So, but right now I'm pulling out this falling wedge, and you want to see this bounce go up or down. It might take a couple more weeks, and then we can continue to the upside and get this bounce on. I still believe this is a good chance to buy altcoins that are worth something. Solana, Ondo, things that actually have use case and they're going to be developed further on in the real world asset space and beyond. So I like this bounce on the macro on the weekly. Pay attention. If you close a weekly candle lower than this, we're going to be in trouble. And then you have to start thinking that we're going to be coming to test $1.86 trillion and possibly the weekly 200 MA. Did it hit the daily 200 MA? It got very close. Well, right now, look, we're actually below the daily. I'd like to see this get above the daily 200 MA. We close a candle below that, it's likely you're going to head down to the 2-day 200 MA, which we kind of bounced off right there. So I'm looking for this SR flip to hold. I'll give you a crazy update and an emergency update if the weekly candle does close below this key level. But right now, everything is looking okay that we could be getting a bounce here, and it could be a really good load-up zone. Another thing that you want to couple this with is the fear and greed is at 10 and 16. Whenever that's been at a 10 and 16 and I've bought, I've been very well rewarded in my spot DCA bags. Again, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. But every time I bought, when we were at 10, 16, anywhere below like 19, 20, it paid off very, very nicely in the long run. Okay, now let's look at total 3, the entire market cap of all the cryptocurrencies, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Same story. Previous resistance is support. They brought it all the way right back down to support, a pounding. However, it is still a falling wedge. Falling wedges still break up, and it's at the 618 Fibonacci level. I would expect a bounce here for these altcoins. Same thing as Bitcoin. You're at the 200 MA. This is a known load-up zone for me. Previous support is resistance at the 200 MA, at the Fibonacci, and oversold. Hidden bullish divergence. Again, we could go lower. There could be some more of a dip and then a reversal, but it tells me that this area is where I have to start, basically DCAing into coins that matter, buying some more Bitcoin, and that's what I'm doing. You do whatever makes you happy, but I am opening up and I'm throwing some tether down at these key areas. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance and take a look at what's happening to Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance looked like it was going to pump. And we told you Bitcoin dominance pumped for 2 reasons. When the market's about to rip and when the market's about to dip. And you can see it kind of went somewhat sideways, but it stayed inside the flag. People ran out of altcoins into Bitcoin when the market dipped. So Bitcoin dominance held. Now when Bitcoin starts to rip again and bounces off the lows, it's probably going to continue. I still see trouble for alts. There's never going to be a true alt season until we get somewhere to 70% for Bitcoin dominance. I see Bitcoin dominance continue to rise. Bitcoin breaks back up to 90K. What goes up must come down. After a dump like that, we always revisit some highs. I would see Bitcoin coming back up and dominance ripping back to the upside as people jump back into Bitcoin to catch these low prices. So again, that cup and handle played out. Now the sideways flag. It does look like Bitcoin dominance will continue to go to the upside. We take a look at tether dominance, and we did see that kind of gave us the suggestion that Bitcoin was going to crash. We saw this flag, and we said, man, that doesn't look good. If it gets above the 200 MA, I said, we don't want this to come and break out. We wanted to get rejected and fall down. It didn't do that. It actually pumped. Now, the DXY can pump back with Bitcoin as Bitcoin starts to go up. We could get a strong dollar. It's been off and on, but just like when Bitcoin went down, the dollar went back. And what we'd like to see is we'd like to see this be a resistance, and we'd like to see the dollar start to fall down. This is very crucial. If the dollar continues to go up a little bit more, it looks like the Bitcoin crash may continue. If we get a resistance start to drop, it's just going to help any risk on asset. It's going to help anything, real estate, all coins, anything priced in the dollar, including Bitcoin. So we want to see this rejection here. What do I see happening? I see us oversold on the daily. The 3 days really beat, and it got rejected again by the 200 MA. I just don't want to see us break the 200 MA on the 3-day chart. As long as we stay below that, I'm bearish. I'd like to see us in the next few days, or bearish on the DXY. I'd like to see in the next few days this come down. We do not want to see the DXY. Like if next week we're here and the DXY is somewhere here or here, it's not going to be a good look. And that brings me to the dollar index, the DXY. Again, the DXY getting strong, right? You can see getting some strength. We don't want to see that. You don't want to see the DXY ripping. You want to see tether dominance and the DXY both pulling back. Tether dominance showing such strength, you know what I mean? And I think I might have miscalled tether dominance the DXY just there, but they are basically a very similar asset. They're not the same though. What we're looking for here is we're looking for a right shoulder. So yes, pump all you want, but make a right shoulder, begin to collapse. This is what we're looking for. The DXY can't pump with Bitcoin. I get it, but generally if they do, it's only short-lived. For the most part, we would like to see the DXY pull back. All right, tether dominance pull back. Right, if the DXY pulls back, tether dominance pulls back. Tether dominance isn't the DXY, right? But they technically, when tether dominance dumps, real estate will go up, right? Because people are less likely to get into the dollar, less likely to get into dollar-pegged assets. So even though I misspoke there earlier, bear with me. They are pretty close and they correlate. But again, they are not the same. We were looking for a right shoulder here in a dump to the downside. That's my kind of story morning glory. Otherwise, it's a retest, and we might get a resurgence of this dollar. Especially, they get at this, they're going to look what's happened in Fort Knox, find out with the gold. It's interesting. That brings me to gold. Because, you know, if they find out there's gold in Fort Knox, is that bullish or bearish? Does that have anything to do with the price of gold, do you think? I believe it's bearish if they find no gold there. I think it's bullish if they do, right? So, I don't know. You tell me. Some controversy and some final bear. We got some bearish div now finally on gold, right? It's been ripping. Finally, some bearish divergence. Let's take a look at the bigger time frames on gold. You know, what I see happening, though, is because if they continue to print that money, there's that giant cup and handle that we had talked about that was from 2012. Isn't that crazy? Sammy cup and handle. There was a giant cup and handle for gold that played out exactly like it was supposed to. Shoulder, head, shoulder, rip to the upside. Gold, baby, gold. Honestly, gold has such strong support at 2,500. I see it maybe, you know, pulling back, but probably pulling back in fashion. And, you know, either making an ascending triangle here or maybe a falling wedge as such. Either way, it looks like it's going to hold 2,500 and then resurge on its next bigger move. But I do see a pullback for gold. Some sideways price action for the next few weeks as we start to see the Fed shift gears. And, you know, already today, even on Twitter, the Fed coming out in Atlanta and suggesting we're headed towards a recession. In my mind, that you know, they're already kind of planning to print. They start sending the news out, so when they print, it doesn't look as bad, right? 2%, transitory, all these funny laughs that make no sense. But this is what I see happening for gold. Let's take a look at the S&P futures. And again, I kind of, you know, they did stump me here. When I looked at the S&P last time, telling you, I said they're not going to dump it. I said they're going to keep this price action tight in the zone, right? I was pretty adamant about that. But now they look like they may be pulling the price down. And that, to me, I'm like, you know. So I'll be honest, I was pretty hard about the S&P holding the zone. Looked like we were going to get the bounce of a fake out. But we got, you know, Bitcoin dumped and honestly, the S&P dumped with Bitcoin, a little, recession news. And that does have some double top vibes. So once this candle closes on the weekly, which looks like it may, you know, could they try to wick it back up? But that doesn't look amazing. What I'm seeing here now is that's going to have to be some type of pullback. There's a chance we could bounce here. They did this the other day. They made an ugly hill and then they were able to bounce it. I'm bullish on them printing money. And if they print money to raise the rates, to lower, they're going to have to cut the rates. It looks like we're going to get a bounce. I know it doesn't make sense. But to me, I see a bounce coming in the Federal Reserve, and I don't see how risk on assets and things that are priced in the dollar can go down in value when you continue to print money. So, again, it is an M pattern. The technical analysis says that you're about to drop and look for the S&P to take another beat down. That would take Bitcoin to 70K. So there is some sketchiness in the overall market. We would like a bounce this week, next week, basically. You know, you really need a bounce next week. You get a bounce next week, it shows that this flag's intact. You don't get a bounce next week, it begins this dump, and it basically will create a couple week dump down to the 200 MA here on the daily time frame. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ, the NQ. And the NASDAQ, you know, same idea. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. Can it hold? Similar to Bitcoin. Again, did it go to its daily 200 MA? Pretty close. So it's funny, man. It went right. They're like matched. They're point and match, right? Bitcoin went to the daily 200 MA pretty close. This one did too. Again, as long as it stays above the daily 200 MA, we remain bullish. The bears have to break that key level. I'm looking for that bounce, the inverted head and shoulder, the money printing, and they continue to send us to the upside. I look at Sol, also BTC, and Sol took a beat down. It did. It really did. And it's trying to fight up against Bitcoin. I'm going to show you the Sol chart that I did earlier today. And I'm looking for Sol. If Sol is bullish, it's making this bullish, you know, megaphone, the Livermore cylinder, and it would bounce off this key level, possibly make a right shoulder. If we're bearish, we're going to retest and likely drop back down to 102, then to 77. And if Bitcoin decides to take that nasty dump, so what do I see happening? Honestly, I do lean a little more bearish than bullish right now. We're having a nice little a reversal, but the bears are in control. The only thing holding me down right now is that the daily is staying above the 200 MA. If Bitcoin closes a daily candle below its 200 MA, the yellow line, like this one here, we're going to be in some serious trouble. Let me take a look, BTC, and Sol will too. So you're looking for Sol to catch this bounce, but it really depends on BTC. You have both charts up, but you got to watch, you know, Bitcoin closely. So right now, we do not want to see Bitcoin close a daily candle below this yellow line, the 200 SMA on the daily, the 200 daily simple moving average. All right. That, my friends, is your macro technical analysis. I hope you had a wonderful day watching this. I hope you watched the live stream. I don't know if you've been watching it, but the last few days we've been doing very, very well, hitting some nice gains both up and down for Bitcoin. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Go to cryptolifer.com to find out more. I can't wait to see you on my next live stream. If you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.